Hi there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday. It is the 23rd of January. And temperatures, would you believe it or not, are actually getting warmer.
Yeah, thank heavens. I was going to reopen the discussion of global warming.
Not with me, you're not.
Come on, let's talk about it.
No, Tom, we don't have any hours in the world to talk
Where
about that.
is global warming? Australia, maybe? That's about it.
Maybe. All right,
Okay.
well, temperatures are cold. We're not as cold as we have been. We're sitting at minus 33
minus 33 with temperature.
Wow.
Yeah, just the temperature. And my cold water line froze, which has never happened in 50 years.
Wow.
So anyway, it was kind of interesting.
All right, well, it was cold yesterday. We saw daytime highs very low lying and through Kitchener and in through Toronto, Hamilton. We do have a snow squall watch in places for you because around you because of a little kind of blip, a squall that just started over the lake and is continuing to kind of sink its way south. So it could be an issue for you in the next couple of hours. We'll talk about that in a moment. But first, here's Tom with traffic.
Thank you very much. On your forecast.
All right, the long range shows us some snow over the weekend, and in the GTA, we're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters from Friday to Sunday. Too scary, even for surfers. Coming up, we'll tell you why even diehards are staying out of these waves in Hawaii.
This weather segment.
Hi there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. It's Thursday. It is the 23rd of January, and we're kicking things off this morning with a watch and a warning.
Isn't that great?
It is great.
But it's not as cold. It's almost half the temperature it was yesterday. Teens minus 14, minus 17 in Orangeville. Orangeville, you win again. The big temperature bingo.
Yeah, temperatures have been very cold these last few days, and the Arctic air just continues right into the weekend, where we do have another significant storm on the way. Now, it's only 5 to 10 centimeters, but with that, we're going to see sustained winds of about 40 kilometers an hour, blowing it all around. Poor visibility. It's going to be a bit of a mess for travel.
But tell them the good news.
Temperatures?
Yeah.
They're going to warm up a little.
Yoo-hoo!
All right, we'll warm up just slightly, but first I'm going to turn things over to Tom. He has an update on your commute.
No.
Well, the system that we're expecting for this weekend is going to come in through the day on Friday, late day Friday, and into Saturday. We are going to be seeing snowfall accumulating in about 5 to 10 centimeters, and it's going to be blowing and drifting, and it's going to be cold as well. Temperatures minus 10 tomorrow, feeling like minus 20. There's that little warm up for Saturday, minus 3 for a daytime high. You can look, but there's no getting close to this wild surf. Sore back, anyone? The dig out continues after a powerful nor'easter. It's the storm that's keeping everyone from the Carolinas to Newfoundland busy with cleanup in some form. Region. In the Maritimes, the storm hit with a 1-2 punch. Snow arrived in Halifax early Wednesday morning, but the main event was still hours away. Surf's up, a little too up. Waves as high as 15 meters are pounding the Hawaiian Islands. Forecasters say the surf has peaked, but will remain dangerous through Friday. We'll take a look at your long-range forecast. We'll focus in on the storm that's approaching over the weekend. But first, I'm going to turn things over to Tom Reynolds. He has an update on traffic. Bundle up and grab a hot cup of coffee. You'll need it this morning. We're going to be seeing temperatures sitting around minus 15 for the city of Toronto. We're looking at minus 20 for Barrie, minus 17 in Oshawa. I wish I had better news for the afternoon, but it is still going to be quite cold. We're looking at minus 13 through Hamilton, minus 15 through Toronto, minus 17 through Orangeville, through Brantford. We're looking at minus 13 and still very cold up in the Barrie area. Minus 19 is the daytime high.
Closed.
Hi there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday. It is the 23rd of January. Temperatures still a little on the cold side, and we're seeing some snow.
Yeah, how do you like winter so far? Isn't it just brutal? It really is. And we're embracing it this year, sort of.
No, Tom, I'm embracing it.
I'm not.
You are cursing it.
I am. You're right.
Let's be honest.
And you know, it's just for anybody working outside, I don't envy you. I had guys installing an oil tank yesterday at the cottage.
Yeah. Did you bring them hot chocolate?
I brought them coffees.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots, because it was just brutal.
Oh, just awful.
Yeah.
Temperatures have been incredibly cold. We do have a snow squall watch and a snow squall warning in Toronto. At least it's going to be sunny.
Right.
I think that's kind of our silver lining in all of this.
Yeah, sun. It's nice.
You know, it could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be much worse.
I think a lot of people are going south. I know you're going south pretty soon.
I am.
And I know our producer's going south pretty soon.
Yes, he is.
And I can hardly blame him.
Yeah, I know. I don't blame him either.
No.
With conditions like this, it's not even fun to be outside walking the dog. My poor dog hasn't been walked in 3 days. And then we saw freeze, and then we saw snow, and then we saw ice, and it's just been one of those winters. We're calling it the Canadian old-fashioned winter. All right, we're going to talk about your long range, but first I'm going to turn things over to Tom Reynolds.
You ready? Any warm-up?
Maybe, just a little, for Saturday. But first, we've got this system to talk about. Moves in Friday afternoon, in through the evening, heavy snow through the overnight. With this, we're talking about 5 to 10 centimeters for the GTA, but when we've got sustained winds at about 40 kilometers an hour, we could be dealing with whiteout conditions, blowing and drifting snow. It's going to be a tough weekend for travel. You can look, but there's no getting close to this. Lots of events going on this weekend. If you have an event or if you're going to an event, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a tweet at EmilyTWN. A lot of people are going to be skiing this weekend. A lot of people are going to be boarding this weekend. Cross-country skiing is going to be quite popular. We do have more snow on the way. This is going to help people that are hitting the slopes up in the Barrie area. We're looking at about 10 to 15 centimeters. Down towards Goderich and in through Exeter, and just right on the cusp. London's right on the cusp of this. We could see about 15 to 20 centimeters just with that lake enhancement. Now you're probably wondering why the city of Toronto is just kind of in its own little band. Well, we're just not going to see that lake enhancement. So we're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters. Now, and you're thinking, well, if I'm traveling this weekend, that's okay. I can handle 5 to 10 centimeters. The only problem with 5 to 10 centimeters is that it's going to be blowing around, causing poor visibility and blowing and drifting snow. Now, it's not going to be quite like blizzard conditions, and the criteria for blizzard warnings throughout across Canada. You need at least 4 hours of snow or blowing snow, sustained winds 40 kilometers an hour or greater, and visibility reduced to 400 meters or less. So if you can remember the 444, and that's kind of the criteria. So it's not going to be that intense throughout southern Ontario this weekend, but we are still going to be watching out for very slippery road conditions and blowing and drifting snow. It's going to be that light, fluffy snow because all the moisture is going to be sucked out of it, because that's what happens when it's really, really cold. Now, Kevin Yard has been partnering with Ontario Travel, and tomorrow he is going to be in beautiful Thunder Bay. So make sure you tune in to see that. If you are heading to the ski hills this weekend, we do have quite a bit of snow on the ground, 30 plus centimeters throughout northern Ontario and even in through southern Ontario. Around resort country looks really good, 30 plus centimeters on the ground. Again, if you have an event, I would love to hear from you. Send me a tweet at EmilyTWN. I'm going to turn things over to Tom Reynolds. He has an update on traffic. Hi there. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It's Thursday. It's the 23rd of January. We have got a snow squall watch in place. We've got a snow squall warning in place. And we have got about 10 accidents on the 401 near Kitchener. Has the 401 closed?
At least. 401's closed at Homer Watson.
Ugh.
Rollovers, Cedar Creek, Homer Watson, Franklin. Town Line, 7 and 8. There's 3 cars in the bridge at the flyover. One's hanging off the bridge. So it is an absolute write-off.
Literally hanging off the bridge.
Hanging off the bridge. So it's an absolute write-off in the Kitchener-Waterloo area because of the snow that's very low-level stuff, but it's still making it very icy.
Very, very icy. Now, Nadine joins us in Mississauga. And if there's one person I know that cannot handle cold weather. I mean, she's worse than me. She's worse than Tom. It is Nadine. And
she
Nadine
just hates it.
I mean, you're dressed for it, but I understand you're probably suffering. Thanks, Nadine. We'll get to your long range in just a moment. First, here's Tom with traffic.
Long range, now I'm out of breath.
Well, we do have a winter storm on the way to top things off. We have got a system approaching tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow evening that is going to be bringing us about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow through much of the GTA. Because it's going to be so cold, the cold air is going to suck all the moisture out of that snow. It's going to be that light, grainy stuff causing blowing and drifting snow pretty much throughout the entire weekend. Good morning. It's Thursday. It is the 23rd of January. So much going on. A little bit of active weather. We've got snow squall watches and warnings in place through the Niagara and Hamilton region. We have got the 401 completely closed through Kitchener-Waterloo because of light snow making the roads incredibly icy.
Yeah, the OPP, they didn't have enough OPP officers to handle all the crashes. There's about at least 10 crashes right now ongoing in the 401 through Kitchener-Waterloo in towards Milton. It's an absolute skating rink out there. Light snow. It's all below our radar, so we don't even see it on radar, but on the other side of Kelso, it's very light snow all the way out through that area and making it very treacherous.
Let's check in with Nadine. She joins us in Mississauga this morning. And Nadine, you are bundled up, and I'm actually quite thankful that this is one of our warmer days of the week for you because I know you couldn't handle much colder.
Side.
Thanks, Nadine. Here's the watch and the warning. We do have the watch through Hamilton, and just Burlington's right on the cusp of that. The warning is in through St. Catharines. We are going to be seeing these squalls continue to sink their way south after developing over the lake through the overnight. So drive carefully in that area. But for all the issues on the 401, here's Tom.
Any relief?
No, unfortunately. It's still going to be quite cold. It's going to be very snowy for the next few days. We do have a system approaching for Friday, late afternoon into the evening. Generally speaking, 5 to 10 centimeters of snow for the GTA, but with the winds sustained at 40 kilometers an hour, blowing and drifting snow causing poor visibility. You can look, but there's no getting close to this wild surf. Sore back, anyone? The dig out continues after a powerful nor'easter. It's the storm that's keeping everyone from the Carolinas to Newfoundland busy with cleanup in some form. And for the northern reaches, that means snowblowers and shovels. Okay? And it's even more challenging now that icy air has flooded into the region. In the Maritimes, the storm hit with a 1-2 punch. Snow arrived in Halifax early Wednesday morning, but the main event was still hours away. Air Canada is still advising travelers moving in and out of Halifax that there could be delays today. Telling people to stay away. Surf's up, but a little too up. Waves as high as 15 meters are pounding the Hawaiian Islands. All right, we're going to join Nadine Powell. She is in the Port Credit area through Mississauga this morning, and I don't know anyone that hates the cold more. Nadine? You can look, but there's no getting close to this wild surf. Certainly an extra cup of coffee needed this morning. We have got temperatures that are so cold throughout southern Ontario. We're looking at minus 15 through Toronto, minus 14 in Hamilton, minus 20 through Barrie, minus 15 in Brantford. We're looking at minus 20 through Newmarket. This afternoon, I wish I had better news. It is going to stay cold. So we're going to stay at minus 15 for Toronto, warming up slightly through Hamilton to minus 13, warming up slightly through Newmarket at minus 18. Still cold in Barrie. We're looking at a daytime high of minus 19. The weather. It's Thursday, it's the 23rd of January, and it is just a mess out there. We have got snow squall watches and warnings in place. We've got light snow through the Kitchener area. The snow squalls that are hitting St. Catharines at BTT, Beat the Traffic, just tweeted a picture of pretty much whiteout on the QE.
It really is, yeah. It's just an absolute disaster down on the south side of the lake. We have problems out through Kitchener-Waterloo. Snow has been happening there, low-level stuff for the last several hours, so it's a mess through Kitchener. And we got problems out in the east end, but they're slowly starting to improve.
Nadine joins us in Mississauga this morning. And Nadine, it is cold, but at least we're going to see a little bit more sunshine today. Thanks, Nadine. We do have a snow squall warning in place for the St. Catharines, Grimsby region, so keep that in mind if you are headed in that direction. Very, very slippery road conditions. We'll talk about your weekend storm in a minute, but first, here's Tom with the update. Well, we do have a system approaching. This is going to be more so tomorrow afternoon and in through tomorrow evening. The winds are going to be fairly strong. We're going to see sustained winds at about 40 kilometers an hour. And that's going to cause blowing and drifting snow. The snow is going to be very light because with all this cold air, it sucks all the moisture out of those snowflakes. So it's going to be that kind of snow that you can just blow off your hand. Keep in mind this is going to continue for Saturday, and then on Sunday we've got a new system coming in that could give us an additional 1 to 3 centimeters. So generally speaking, we're looking at about 5 to 13 centimeters throughout the GTA over the weekend. Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. It's the 23rd of January. It is cold. We are seeing some pretty intense snow moving through the St. Catharines, Grimsby area. We are going to continue to see those squalls coming off the lake. Temperatures into the weekend, they warm up slightly. We'll talk about that. How's the issue on the 401? Still a big mess through Kitchener?
Yeah, it's a non-stop crash. They've had probably about 20 crashes all through the Hespeler area coming in towards Milton, so numerous crashes there. People just don't realize that, tires don't work very well, brakes don't work very well, and there's a lot of particulate on the road, like marbles, which is sand, and of course salt. And salt doesn't melt anything at this temperature. So it is an absolute nightmare in a lot of areas.
We joined Nadine, who's in Mississauga this morning. At least we're seeing some sunshine and a beautiful picturesque picture of the lake with those steam devils coming off of it. All right, thanks, Nadine. Here's the warning through St. Catharines, just along that 403 corridor. Tom's going to show us some cameras of that in just a moment. So keep that in mind if you do have travel plans in that area. Here's Tom now with the latest.
There. Emily's got details on, oh, please say it's a warm-up.
Slightly, but it's coming with snow. We are going to be seeing cold temperatures continuing throughout the day tomorrow. Our winds are going to start to increase, and then the snow is going to start by the afternoon and through the evening. Generally speaking, 5 to 10 centimeters. Then we've got another system on the way for Sunday. This is going to give us an additional 1 to 3. The wind is certainly going to be an issue, not the snowfall amounts at 40 kilometers an hour sustained. It's going to be blowing and drifting, causing poor. You can look, but there's no getting close to this wild surf. Surf's up, a little too up. Waves as high as 15 meters are pounding the Hawaiian Islands. The state is surfing paradise, but you won't find anyone riding these waves. Forecasters say the surf has peaked, but will remain dangerous through Friday. Talk about the snow that's on the way through southern Ontario. We could pick up about 5 to 10 centimeters by the end of the weekend. It's not so much the amount we're concerned about. It's going to be the wind, the blowing and drifting snow could cause poor visibility on the roads. Speaking of poor visibility on the roads and slippery road conditions, here's Tom with traffic.
Thanks.
Certainly an extra cup of coffee needed this morning. We have got temperatures that are so cold throughout southern Ontario. We're looking at minus 15 through Toronto, minus 14 in Hamilton, minus 20 through Barrie, minus 15 in Brantford. We're looking at minus 20 through Newmarket. This afternoon, I wish I had better news. It is going to stay cold. So we're going to stay at minus 15 for Toronto, warming up slightly through Hamilton to minus 13, warming up slightly through Newmarket at minus 18. Still cold in Barrie. We're looking at a daytime high of minus 19. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here at the Weather Network. It's Thursday. It's the 23rd of January. We've been talking about the snow we've been seeing through the Kitchener area down towards St. Catharines and in through the Niagara Peninsula. It has been slippery and it is also very, very cold. So cold that Nadine has frozen off.
Yeah, if it was any colder, all you would hear when we went to Nadine was a little whimper. We go, but it's luckily not. But we've got it's the tale of three cities: Kitchener, Toronto, and St. Catharines. Yeah, it's a mess in all three, but different reasons.
Now we do have Nadine. She's thawed out for a moment. It's because we put her in the sunshine. We thawed her out a little bit. It has been so cold, but Nadine, what's beautiful is that we're still seeing sunshine. Thanks so much, Nadine. I don't know, was there a hint of jealousy or envy in that? I'll send it inside right now. Snow squall warning through St. Catharines and through Grimsby and the northern areas of Niagara. Snow could be intense at times, causing poor visibilities. Tom, I know you've got some cameras of the area, and I know you'll get to that right after this. Well, we do have snow on the way starting tomorrow afternoon and in through the overnight. Could be intense at times. We're expecting about 5 to 10 centimeters. The big story, however, is going to be the winds. These white lines, they're called isobar. They let us know if they're closer together, the winds are going to be stronger. And so we're going to see sustained winds at about 40 kilometers an hour, and that could cause whiteout conditions pretty much continuing all weekend. You can look, but there's no getting close to this wild surf. Hi there, thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. The cold and the snow continues. This is what some roads look like throughout the city of Toronto. It's just snow-packed and ice. So we're calling them snow puddles. It's been tricky to get around because of these cold temperatures. It's been so cold that the waterfalls in through Niagara are actually freezing. But it is not stopping the ducks and the geese in Mississauga from enjoying the sunshine. It's not too cold for them, but it's certainly too cold for us. Beautiful steam devils coming off the lake. That's what happens when the air is much cooler than the water, and that's literally been the case for the last week or so. Now, we do have wind chill warnings throughout parts of northern Ontario and in through northern Quebec, and blizzard warnings through parts of the prairies. And in through the lower Great Lakes, we do have a snow squall warning in through northern Niagara, in through Grimsby and St. Catharines. Roads have been incredibly treacherous. Give yourself lots of extra travel time if you are going to be heading out. Throughout southern Ontario, the QEW, the 403, earlier this morning, the 401 was a mess through parts of Kitchener, through Waterloo and Cambridge, just because of really slippery conditions. It hasn't been a lot of snow through some of those areas. I mean, we're only talking trace amounts. Some areas seeing heavier than others, but it's just very, very slippery because it's so cold that that salt isn't able to penetrate through the snow as well. It's not able to melt all the ice as well as it should with these cold temperatures. So it's very dangerous to be out on the roads in these types of conditions if you're not prepared for it. Winter driving a necessity throughout parts of Ontario throughout the day today, especially along the shores of Huron and Georgian Bay. The long-range forecast is going to be bringing us a fairly decent winter storm. We're looking at about 5 to 10 centimeters Friday into Saturday. The winds are going to be the big story. When you have got blowing and drifting snow like we're going to be experiencing over the weekend, that's what could cause whiteout conditions. Blizzard-like conditions through some areas, wouldn't be surprised. We are going to be seeing the snow come down heaviest through Friday overnight and into Saturday. It's going to be really light and fluffy. Cold air sucks all of the moisture out of the snow, so that's why it's going to be blowing and drifting around, and that's why we're not so concerned about the amounts. We're more concerned about the sustained winds at 40 kilometers an hour. By Sunday, we've got another system coming in. This is going to give us an additional 1 to 3 centimeters, so by the end of the weekend, some areas could see up to 15. It could be pretty intense if you do have travel plans, so just take it easy.
This
And the winds that are certainly going to make it a little bit more of an issue. Thanks for joining us here on the Weather Network. I'm Emily Vukovic. It's Thursday. It is the 23rd of January. We've got snow. We've got cold temperatures. We've got snow squall watches and warnings. The watch has now been dropped through Hamilton. We do have the warning continuing, however, through St. Catharines and through the northern Niagara region and in through Grimsby. Traveling through those areas right now, a little tricky. We've got that squall that developed over Lake Ontario through the overnight, and it is going to continue to push its way south. We have Nadine Hintz-Powell joining us in Mississauga. And Nadine, I don't mean to giggle, but off camera, I mean, you were doing some pretty good exercises to try and stay warm. Hi, thanks so much, Nadine. You need to get in the car and get warm or something. All right, well, temperatures are going to stay cold as we get into the weekend, and we do have a system approaching, and this is going to give us about 5 to 10 centimeters of snow through the GTA. Areas along the shores of Huron and Georgian Bay could see a little bit more because of that lake enhancement. Now, the winds are certainly going to be a big story because the amounts, they're not incredibly significant, but when we've got sustained winds that are gusting up to about 60 kilometers an hour and sustained at 40 kilometers an hour, that's where we're going to start to run into an issue. This snow is going to be moisture starved, if that makes any sense. The cold air really just sucks all the moisture, so it's going to be that light, fluffy, powdery snow, stuff that you can't make snowmen with, you know, that kind. That's going to continue throughout the day on Saturday, so whiteout conditions could certainly be an issue. By Sunday, we've got a new system coming in. A clipper from across the prairies is going to give us an additional 1 to 3, so in total, some areas could be seeing 10 to 15 centimeters by the time Monday morning rolls around.